aka Captain. Today we are on our way to Chantilly. 3-day show, Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Virginia. I've always said that Chantilly is my favorite show, obviously beside the National. So I'm driving, got about an hour. Total drive's about an hour and a half. A little less than an hour and a half. I've been driving for about 15 minutes now. We're gonna try to do the best content I can with my cell phone and my little holder that keeps spinning. So if it moves and I have to adjust, I apologize. Definitely one of the focuses this year has been content and doing a better job at it, as I do all my own content and editing, which I know nothing about. I have a GoPro that I'm still learning. This show, I've said it in some of my other videos, I've kind of captured me at shows doing deals and all that, but you never know what deals I'm doing. And so, to my surprise, I've had a lot of good feedback saying people like my videos, even though you don't necessarily know what I'm doing, because I just kind of add music and you watch me deal. My focus for this weekend is to legitimately show every transaction. I won't speak of the finances part, but to show the cards, show the people, include that. My biggest thing is that since I don't like doing the content part, I always do my deals, and as soon as I get going and it gets busy, as usually it does, man, content is the last thing that I'm thinking about, and I'm just doing deals and keep going. So I'm really gonna make it a point to try and show the deals that I'm doing and maybe interact a little bit more. So that's my goal. I will have someone Saturday and Sunday helping out video, so that should help. Today it'll just be by myself. So that's something to look forward to. Otherwise, over the last few weeks, I've had a lot of people reach out in reference to how to start a business, specifically sports cars business, how to get to a card show for the first time, how to build your inventory. And, you know, honestly, I'm not saying this to be cocky. It's been flattering because I'm not someone that's been in the card business for 20 years. But it tells me that I'm doing something right. Whatever I'm producing, whatever I'm showing, people are enjoying, people are liking. And they want to emulate it or do something close to what I'm doing. That's why they're inquiring with me. So I appreciate that. So this is, I did not write anything down. I didn't really prepare anything. This is actually, honestly, I was like, I got an hour drive and I might as well talk to myself and lend my experience. So I want to be clear, the things that I'm going to say are my opinion, my experiences. If you look up do's and don'ts for card shows and sports cards business or any business, there's millions of YouTube videos on that. So I'm just one needle in the haystack that is offering my experiences, my opinions. The things that I'm about to say are not concrete. They're not the do-all, end-all. It's just what I've seen over my time, what I like to do, and my preferences, and my opinion, and mine only. No particular order. I'm just gonna shout out some things that, as a dealer and as a customer, I think what I would do and what, you know, potentially you should do, and maybe this will help you. Again, I apologize for the bad cameras, as my holder is not the most fancy. We're going on the highway now, so there shouldn't be too many turns. But, so without any particular order, do's and don'ts for setting up at a card show or your first time. So the first thing you want to do is, I definitely recommend having showcases. It's more about a little type of security and presentation. Laying the cards just flat on the table, one, it screams new person. Not that there's anything wrong with being new. We all had to be new, but you don't really want anyone to know that you're new. If you give off that impression that you're new, people might try to take advantage of you, unfortunately. So if you can, grab a showcase. If you're having a lot of stuff at your table, a showcase gives an extra protection in your slabs or your cards. And, you know, if you're working on one thing and you kind of go at the end of your table, someone usually will ask if they can see a card. Obviously, if you see someone opening up your showcase without asking, that's rude and odd. Most people will ask. So try to get yourself a showcase. Also, a good idea is to have tablecloths. Some of these shows, these tables are being used every day for different events over time. You're never guaranteed a table that looks perfect. So unless you bring your own table, or they tell you that the tables are in good condition, it doesn't hurt to bring a tablecloth. Eventually, if you get bigger and you start doing it often, you can get a table skirt and get it personalized with your logo and all that. Dang thing. So that's the first thing. Second thing, and this is one of the biggest things. They're all important, but this is a big thing. Know and label your card prices. Big truck passing by. Label the prices on your card. For me, the most annoying thing is to walk to a table and not see prices. Here's the reason why. Even if you know your prices as a dealer, even if you know your prices, I'm interested in 5 to 10 cards in your showcase. The last thing I want to do is ask you 10 times what your price is. If they're labeled there, I know where I can start and I can go with it. So, label your prices. On top of labeling your prices, if you don't, which I don't recommend, if you don't, you must know them at least. When someone asks you, you should be able to spit the price. When I first started, for about my first few shows, I didn't label my prices. I do believe, in my opinion, that it deters people away. People do not want to ask you 20 times what your price is. Also, another thing is, on that label, if the card is serial numbered or a low pop, put it on there. It makes it more attractable. Somebody may be interested in your card. They see that your card is $100. They're kind of interested in it. Knowing if it's numbered or not helps them. If it's numbered, they're probably going to be more interested in it. So, do a $sign with your price, a slash if it's numbered, and if it's low pop, put that on there too. I put anything pop like 60 and under, I throw it on there. It just makes it show that it's more rare. There's not many out there. It makes it more attractable. When I look at that card, if that label is on there with all that information, I know everything about that card. If it's numbered, if it's serial pop, or what type of pop it is, if it's low pop, and the price. We don't have to have these huge, big conversations. The last thing you want to do, which I would go into this too, is badger your customer. And the customer doesn't want to have to ask you 20 times or 20 different questions about one card, especially if you don't have any of your cards labeled. So label the cards. If you don't, you better know your price. I truly believe that it deters people. It deters me. If I go to someone's case, I don't care what type of cards they have, even if it's cards I'm interested in, I refuse to ask someone 20 times what their price is. So they just lost a customer. I promise you, as soon as I see a case with no prices, I just keep on walking. Don't even bother. It deters me. So label your prices. Along with labeling, if you have terrible handwriting, go get the machine. They're $20 at Walmart. They take batteries. Go get the machine, the label maker that's in the office aisle. I started off writing my own. My handwriting is terrible. Then I got a label gun. A label gun for me was a little bit smaller on the font. It was also just annoying to click it out, switch all the prices for different cards. The label maker was just like a little computer. It's quick, it's easy. You pick the font, it's all uniform. You're good to go. You can't go wrong with those. $20, it pays for itself in the first use. Everything will look neat and nice. So go spend the money on a label maker. Next, Windex. If you have a showcase, every hour or so, wipe your showcase down. There's going to be tons of fingerprints, smudges, glares. Keep the showcase as clean as possible. It just, presentation is better. This goes for both dealers and customers. I've said this before in my videos. Hygiene is so important. I don't know why this is a problem, like, across America. Deodorant, mouthwash. You go to breakfast before you go to a car wash, or you go to breakfast before a card show, throw in a piece of gum, bring a little toothbrush, something. You worked all day or all night and then you go to a card show, put on some deodorant, spray, Axe, something. Don't do nothing. You know, longer card shows that are all day, you know, you're walking around, we get it. We're men. We start to sweat, whatever. Bring a little deodorant with you. Go to the bathroom, freshen up. It's unbelievable how much people practice bad hygiene. And this is true. I've gone to dealers' tables where either their breath is so powerful in a bad way, or their body odor is so bad that I can't be at their table. It's just disgusting. You start to think about, if they take care of their body like that, that means they're touching and being all over those cards. It just makes me think of like gross sweat, spit, and it turns me off and I leave. So, body odor. Clean clothes, shower, like normal things that your parents are supposed to teach you when you're younger. Apply those attributes at a card show. I kind of touched on this a little bit. Badgering customers or badgering dealers over prices. Look, I am the biggest, I think I've talked about this before, I am the biggest supporter on pricing your cards however you want them. If a comp says 70 and you want to price it at 150, that's on you. It's your product, it's your item, you get to price it however you want. Now, that may reflect on whether you sell it or not, but you're always willing and able to offer. If someone doesn't want your offer and you just think it's the best offer in the world, they may not agree. They may be attached to that card. Don't fight with them. Don't show anger. I've been there where I've seen people's cards just crazily, astronomically overpriced. It is what it is. If you went to the National this year or last year, everybody, and I mean everybody, it's like they all got together and said, let's be 30% over comps. What can you do about it? I took $5,000 with me. My first National ever. I only spent a couple $100. I was willing to spend $5,000. I went for all 5 days. It just is what it is. Offer, they don't want to take the offer, keep it moving. Same with dealers. If you price your cards, listen, customers, they're not going to pay over comps. If I see a card, now granted, here's how I do things. If there's a comp that's 2 or 3 months ago and the card hasn't sold for 2 or 3 months, no, I'm not going to use that comp from 3 months ago. Especially if that player is currently playing or doing well. No, I'm going to assess, I'm going to use that as a guide, and I'm going to assess the value. If he's killing it, it's probably going to be more. That's just how I do it. If someone makes me an offer, they don't like it or they don't want it, it is what it is. So I have a perfect example. Right now I have a hollow auto Tyrese Maxey. Very good looking card. It's raw. The last comp that I can find was in January when he was hurt. One sold for like $300, one sold for like $280 in January when he was hurt. He's been playing now, and he's been playing well. I have it at $250. I think that I could honestly ask $300 because somebody bought that card when he was hurt. Cards are supposed to go down. So I had a guy offer me way low that at my last card show, and I was like, no buddy, I can't do it. And he definitely was not happy. Don't do that. Don't be that person. Don't be that person that you show a super frustration because someone didn't take your offer. At the end of the day, most of the cards that you see, eventually, yes, you can probably find it elsewhere. So comps, eBay is not the only site. This is annoying. eBay is not the only site. Okay? There's My Slabs, there's Facebook sales, there's in-person sales, there's other things. Granted, people are gonna want to see it or they don't want to buy it. That's just a reality, unfortunately. If you can't comp it, people get scared. So keep that in mind. Comps, people want to go off comps. People typically don't want to pay comps. I typically price my cards based on comps, research, and players' value. So usually my cards are priced right around the average of the last 3 sales. That's what I try to stick by. It just depends if I graded it, if I picked it up myself, if I have room. The other thing, pause. So like I said, comps aren't everything. They are the first line of defense and looking and all that. But there are other sales that happen. There are other things that a lot of people don't take into consideration. A lot of people don't take into consideration the value of what a player is doing. They only want to go based off a comp. So let's say the last comp was 3 weeks ago, but the players averaged, 30 points a game for the last 2 weeks. That's value. You have to take that into account. So those are some things to keep in mind when doing a card show. Do's and don'ts. Don't badger customers. Don't be rude if you don't like the price. Just keep it moving. Know your prices. Label them. Have your cards nice. If you put your cards in a sleeve, which I recommend, change out those sleeves every few, depending on how many shows you do, how much moving you do. Your cards back and forth, in and out of boxes, in and out of the car. I do shows almost every weekend. I also have them displayed in my store, so my cards are constantly moving. When they get crusty or not clear or not nice, wrinkly and ripped and stretched out, switch out the sleeve. Put out new sleeves. They're not expensive. You're just investing in presentation. Try to have room. There's a lot of things people are going to tell you that I don't agree with and I don't correct, okay? Some of those people out there are going to want to be the feel-good story of like, this is the hobby. You have to leave room for people. That's bullshit. This is a nice hobby. It's awesome. It's fun. It's great. It's great to network and people. It's also business. It's also business. You don't have to give your cards away to leave room. Over the years, I've had many people try and tell me, hey, I need to sell this card, so I need to make money. I need you to sell me this card at a cheaper price. No, I don't. And you don't. The people that say that, like, they just care about themselves. You don't have to leave room for anybody else. Get what you believe the card is valued at. If you want to give someone a great deal, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Do it. I encourage it. But you don't have to. You don't have to leave room for people to make money on cards that you buy. Honestly, that's a terrible business plan. And if you plan on doing that, don't make this a business to rely on. Your margins are going to be terrible. So part of cards and all that is making money. If you're setting up at shows weekend after weekend, this is a business. Whether you have a store or not, it's your business. You're in it to make money as well. People that say like, oh, they're just in it for the money and all that. Yeah, that's what you do with business. You want to make money. You don't want to lose money. So when you hear that from someone that they're just trying to do the sweet and sad and sappy, like, oh, for the hobby and who cares about the money? It's bullshit. It's not real life. They're doing it too. You don't have to brag about how much money you make, but it is a business. So sell your cards for what you want to sell them for. I think that's a good start. Watch a lot of YouTube videos. Find some guys that are doing it well. Another thing is you don't have to have high end. A lot of people get scared that they're like, I only have $5 or $10 cards in my case. We all got started with somewhere. You have to buy a card to get started. And then turning one card into 5 cards and 5 cards into 10 and grading. The biggest, best margins you can get is buying raw cards, grading them, and getting PSA 10s. My recommendation, my opinion, if you want to see the biggest margins, you have to go with PSA. SGC, in my opinion, best customer service, quickest turnaround times, nicest guys in the hobby as far as grading service, great communication, great transparency. Unfortunately, their cards haven't reached the value of where the resale is something to chase after. If you collect, you don't mind their look, I say grade with SGC all the way. My opinion and what I do is I don't invest too much in SGC just because the value isn't there. An SGC 10 and a PSA 10 is light years away on most cards. So I grade with PSA. It's more expensive, but I get more bang for my buck when I resell my cards. But your best margins overall is buying raw cards. Get good at looking over cards and seeing what is gradable and then send them off at the right time and go and do that. The best time to buy stuff is in the off season, okay? Right now is the best time that you're gonna get for football. Granted, you're gonna have a 2-week window here at the draft where stuff is probably gonna spike a little bit. There's gonna be trades. The rest of free agency is gonna sign. Whenever Aaron Rodgers signs, Jet stuff is probably gonna go up. So that in mind. Then probably May and most of June it'll be down again. Even though football really doesn't go too much down, but you're going to get your window to buy. Your window to buy baseball was weeks ago. As we see, it started opening day yesterday. Players that have had good days, Adley Rutschman yesterday, 5 for 5 with a home run. People are going to start going nuts even more over his stuff. So, to take that into account. There's so much that I can talk about over and over about how to get started and all that. We all were there. That's just the basis. I apologize for the terrible camera angles and the bounciness. But talking to myself and the camera helps make this trip go quick. And it answers the questions of my followers and my customers on wanting to know something. There's a million other things that I can talk about without preparing for this video. Those are things that came to my head quickly on how to do. Get in touch with the promoters, people that you trust. Ask them questions. Who's the promoter of this show? How do I get in here? Get one table. Once you get a table, keep that table if it's a good show. If you got 20 cards, maybe you won't make anything that day. Maybe your first time you won't make anything. I didn't kill it my first show. I sold one shoebox of old cards to another dealer that I sold way undervalued. But I came out of there with cash. I didn't sell one card in my showcase. Some cards I was high on. Some cards I didn't know any better. It was my first time. I didn't know what I was doing. That was almost 3 years ago. Now I own my own sports card store. There's some people in the hobby that have been in it 20 years and have never been able to figure out how to open a store. It's not to say that I'm better than anybody else. It's to say that anybody can do it. You just got to have a passion. You got to work hard. Find the best deals. I grind every day. Multiple times a day, I check several websites out. Not going to give away all my secrets, but Facebook, all the common websites, 2 to 3 times a day, looking for where there's margins. If I buy that, how much can I sell it for, including shipping or tax if needed? Can I make money on that? It just takes grinding. And by doing that, I've been successful. So, that's how you got to do it. Maybe if I actually plan the video next time, I could have some things written down. I'm sure I'm forgetting something more important, but I am starting to see a little bit more traffic and stop and go, so I'm going to cut this off. But hopefully, again, my biggest goal is to have a lot of content today and this weekend, a lot of more interaction with the customer and seeing what I'm selling and trading and picking up, and hopefully I'll be successful. So appreciate the support, appreciate you guys reaching out. Again, I'll do the YouTube thing. If you subscribe and like and comment and all that funny jazz, it just helps the channel grow. Then it'll motivate me too to hopefully do better content. So I will talk to you guys soon. Look for highlights from this weekend. Have a good one.